Hello and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain and I'm your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 7-day-a-week 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 229 of our trek and we are continuing on our current trek, Your Life Plan Blueprint. So far we have covered the purposes for the life plan, basic goal setting, and an overview of the Wesper framework. Yesterday we explored why wisdom is so important as we are creating or revising a life plan with its goals and objectives. Today we will begin to dig up nuggets of wisdom on establishing goals as part of your overall life plan. I am assembling the series of Your Life Plan Blueprint into a downloadable course for your use, and I will let you know when I have it completed. If you do have any questions or would like additional information as we go through the daily trek, leave a comment at wisdom-trek.com or email me at guthrie@venturecg.com. Also, if you miss any of the days of the Wisdom Trek episodes, please go to wisdom-trek.com to listen to them and to read the daily journal. We are recording our podcast from our studios at Home 2 in Charlotte, North Carolina. We had my sister Rebecca over for dinner on Wednesday evening for our monthly get-together. It's always a blessing to spend this time together as we went through some of the old pictures when we were kids. I also found a picture of all 10 of us kids singing Silent Night on Christmas Eve as we headed to bed in our new pajamas. I'll include that on today's journal page. We are wrapping up this week and we'll be heading to Marietta Friday evening. We are very interested to see if the contractors were able to complete their current project in the 2 front rooms, the downstairs foyer, and the hallway. We know that there'll be a lot of drywall and plaster dust to clean up, but the end result will be well worth it. So let's head out on the trail for day 10 of our Wisdom Trek life plan process, which we refer to as Your Life Plan Blueprint. We determined yesterday that the first and most important step in creating or revising a life plan is to gain wisdom. We also learned that wisdom can be gained in 3 ways. First, through the study of the Bible or other wise materials. Second, through a network of family, friends, and mentors. And third, through asking God directly for wisdom via prayer and meditation. Before we go any further on the Wesper process on how to establish goals, you need to determine what your life plan will consist of. There are various ways to do this, but based on my experience and personality, I believe that we do not need to overcomplicate our lives, so let's keep this simple. If you have been with the current trek over the past 10 days, I showed you the Wheel of Life on day 224 that breaks down life into 7 major areas. The Wisdom Trek Life Plan Blueprint is segmented into the 7 areas that comprises your life. Those areas are 1. Spiritual, 2. Family, 3. Physical and health, 4. Mind and intellect, 5. Personal and social, 6. Financial, and 7. Work and career. I explained on this track that the best way to create a life plan is to begin with the end in mind. So the first step in creating or revising your life plan is to reflect on these 7 areas of life and then determine where you would like to be in each of these areas 7 years from now. I realize that it might be a bit difficult to predict that far in advance, but in order to determine what you will do today, this week, this month, and this year, you need to have a long-term destination plan. We will backfill these time periods with detailed goals and objectives, so don't be overly concerned about how you will reach the destination at this point. Initially, let's choose one main objective for each area. So my question for you today is, by the end of 2022, where do you want to be spiritually? With your family, with your physical and health, intellectually, socially, financially, and with your work or career. In each of these 7 areas of life, seek wisdom through prayer and meditation, the study of wise materials, such as the Bible, and through the advice of trusted mentors. Dream big, but realistically. Stretch yourself and be willing to explore outside of your comfort zone. Your results in 7 years will be in direct proportion to how big you dream and plan today. As Speaker Les Brown says, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll still be among the stars. We have determined that the first step in the process of life planning and setting goals must be to gain wisdom. I encourage you today to take some time to write one 7-year objective in each of the 7 areas of life. An extremely important point is, as you're thinking about your 7-year objectives, is to make sure that your wheel of life remains in balance as much as possible. As an example, you do not want to set an objective to have a net worth of $10 million by the end of 2022 if it destroys your family and your health in the process. So keep your life in balance at all times. Once you determine what your 7-year objective is in each of the 7 areas of your life, you will then learn how to break down the large, long-term objectives and determine what you need to accomplish during the current year, the current month, the current week, and even each day. As the age-old question asks, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is always one bite at a time. Think about the 7-year objective as the elephant, and we will break it down into bite-sized daily tasks that can be achieved by anyone. The strength of the Wisdom Trek Life Plan Blueprint and the WESPR framework is that it really becomes a simplistic system to follow. Now that you have your long-term objectives in mind for each of the 7 areas on your Wheel of Life, we are ready to start with the second part of the WESPR framework, which is to establish. We will briefly touch on this step today and then continue on it tomorrow. There are numerous factors to consider to ensure that your vision is robust, accurate, and more importantly, what you really want. Unfortunately, instead of investing quality time in this step, many people run into the mistake of being hasty. They don't take time for the first step, which is wisdom, especially consulting those trusted mentors in your life. They skip past the proper goal setting and jump straight into the planning and execution. Being hasty will cause a lot of backtracking and rework because you did not set your goal properly in the first place. You didn't embed your wisdom into that. If you do not take the proper time when establishing your objective or goal, you may end up completing an objective that you don't really care about. Your time and energy is extremely precious, so it is better to invest the proper time to set the right goals. So go back to the 3 points on how to obtain wisdom and make sure you do that first before establishing any goals. You do not want to be wasting your time on goals which you never really wanted to begin with. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 5 tells us, good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. Establishing goals as part of your overall life plan consists of 2 parts. The first part is to set a goal based on the 10 key fundamental principles that we'll look at, and the second part is what to do with your goal after you establish them. We will invest the next 2 to 3 days exploring the important step of establish as part of our overall WESPR framework. The framework integrates into the concept of Wisdom Trek as we look at life as a trek, taking one step at a time. Tomorrow we will dig into the precious nuggets of wisdom on how to establish meaningful and realistic goals in the 7 areas of your life within the 6-step WESPR framework. So encourage your family and friends to join us and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. That will finish our podcast for today. As you enjoy your daily dose of wisdom, I do encourage you to help us to promote Wisdom Trek in the following 4 ways. First, leave us feedback about the podcast on wisdom-trek.com so we can improve. Second, on your smartphone, subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, SoundCloud, or Stitcher so the podcast will be downloaded to you automatically each day. The third point is, if you do have an iPhone or iPad, leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. That will help to promote the program so others will learn about it. And fourth, the most important step is to please share Wisdom Trek with your family and friends through email, Facebook, Twitter, or in person as you meet with them and invite them to come along with us each day. The journal for today's trek can be found at wisdom-trek.com. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I do consider you my friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. As we take this trek together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.